A while ago, I went to the 50th reunion of my seminary class. I came to the reunion hoping to get some questions answered. What drove these guys to enter the seminary at such a tender age? What caused them to stay in or drop out? Did they still go to church, believe in God? Did that youthful idealism survive into their later careers? I came away realizing there are no easy answers to those questions. You'd have to ask each one, and every story would be different.
Charlie Chaplin was paraphrasing Jesus Christ when he said, in the end, everything is a gag.
Everything I have in my life, I owe to this woman right here. Everything.
The Archbishop said to tell you that because of the way that you left, he will never, ever, ever give you an assignment again. I said, that's fair.
Back in 1954, right out of the 8th grade, 70 of us left home and entered St. Joseph's College, the minor seminary of the Catholic Archdiocese of San Francisco. That was the way you did it in those days. You went in right out of the 8th grade and spent the next 12 years studying to be a priest. The Catholic Church was booming in the 1950s, especially in California, and our class was one of the biggest that ever entered the seminary. They'd even added a brand new wing the year before. At the reunion, we all became teenagers again. We all had memories of arriving that first day with our mandatory dust mop, broom, rug, toothbrush, water glass, and clothes. We'd all gotten a copy of the seminary rule, which laid out in very strict terms that our clothes had to be conservative in color and design, and that we had to wear jackets and ties to all our classes, meals, and when we went to chapel. The rules spelled everything else out, too. No radio or TV, no newspapers or magazines, no unapproved books, no faddish haircuts, no leaving the grounds, no contact with members of the opposite sex. All our mail was censored coming in and going out, and we had to use self-stick envelopes so the faculty wouldn't have to lick them after reading our letters home. We were forbidden from going into each other's rooms, and we were expected always to be in groups of 3 or more. No particular friendships were allowed.
I entered the Sisters of Notre Dame when I was 17 years old. Then I was sent to Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Redwood City, where I met my future husband. I was sent to Seattle to get me away from him.
Really? You had a particular relationship?
Yeah, a particular friendship.
You got the right words.
The rules stressed obedience. A superior may err in commanding, but you can never err in obeying. This is Father Canfield, nicknamed the Cat. He used to sneak around at night and make sure you were following the rules, and he's the one that would tap you on the shoulder if you were about to be thrown out. When guys were thrown out, they'd be given a bus ticket, and we'd never see them again. Their room would be empty the next time we walked by. The one who actually threw you out and gave you your bus ticket home was Father Beansy Campbell. When we were sick, if we could prove that we were really sick, we went to the infirmary. Once a month, we got to visit with our parents for about 4 hours on visiting Sunday. An order of French nuns from Canada did all our cooking and laundry. Sports was a big thing in the seminary. As soon as we got there, we were drafted on one of 4 teams, and we were expected to compete in baseball, soccer, basketball, and track. This was our basic social structure, our teams. Over all those years, we played together, studied together, ate together, and prayed together 12 hours a day. We formed a very, very tight bond. By the time we graduated from the 6-year minor seminary in 1961, only 21 of the original 70 were left. We had added 17 new faces. At that point, we moved on to the major seminary, St. Patrick's. There, we needed a whole new uniform. But about that time, things really started to change in the church. The Vatican Council was called. Pope John the 23rd was opening the windows to the world. The war protest was going on. There was a new look at the liturgy, new translations of the Bible, and more contact with the outside world. The seminary, like the church, was split between liberals and conservatives, and so was our class. There was much more questioning of church dogma, and a lot of guys left for ideological reasons, which had never happened before. When it was time for ordination in 1967, out of the total of 124 seminarians who had been in our class over the last 12 years, only 14 were ordained. In the next 10 years, 6 of those would drop out. That leaves 8 that are still priests, and 5 of them showed up at the reunion. This is Pat Brown, now a Monsignor and pastor of the cathedral in San Jose. He's the one who preached the homily at the reunion.
Thomas could well have been the patron saint of the Rhet class.
Al Larkin is also a Monsignor, now retired and living on the peninsula. Jack O'Neill retired after serving as a chaplain at San Quentin for 19 years and a Navy Reserve officer for 22. Cool. And then Navy?
As a reserve guy, 22.
22. And all over the world?
Double dipped on that.
Double dip.
Mike's keeping track of my finances.
Oh, yeah.
The Navy pays, as a reserve guy, they pay me way more. The church, I said, well, look, I had a big fist fight with them, but I got the money out of them.
Bob Leger spent a couple of years in a Trappist monastery, then became pastor of Resurrection Parish in Sunnyvale. Jim McDonald is now a pastor in Redwood City.
I was ordained in 67. My first assignment was there were a lot of former seminarians living in the parish of St. Agnes. And some
The Haight-Ashbury.
Haight-Ashbury. So I was there in the midst of that for 3 years. And then I've been in St. Pius in Redwood City the last 10 years. You know, I go to a lot of baseball games. Hopefully do a faithful job what I'm doing.
Paul Perry is a priest in Marin County and the chaplain at San Quentin, and he also is the organist for the seminary gatherings. Guys who left the priesthood went in many different directions. Dave Karen became a clergy hero by punching out his obnoxious pastor before marrying a nun and going into real estate. Len Duggan served as an assistant pastor, then left and started a salvage business, and more recently he's worked as a fundraiser. Did you end up with a pension?
With who?
The church or anybody?
Are you kidding? Yeah, right. Well, they ended up, when I left, I got a check. After 10 years, $500.
No way.
Yeah, $50 a year.
Paul Fyan was the chaplain at St. Mary's College until he met and married a young nun named Kathy Tobin. He became a textbook salesman for Prentice Hall and subsequently a clown.
Paul was at Prentice Hall and he was the biology editor for 6 years. And his claim to fame before getting that job was getting a D- from Mumford. And what he said is that Cunningham had all the wrong answers.
Ed Gaffney was ordained in Rome, served as a priest for a few years, then became a constitutional lawyer who now teaches at Valparaiso and leads the choir at these gatherings. Mike McNamara served as a missionary in Bolivia and then dropped out and became a bartender, a liquor store owner, and is now a massage therapist. Mike Murray was a priest for a couple of years, then left and became a political consultant and healthcare administrator.
I had my cup of coffee, went back to school, got a degree, and got caught up working for a politician, and got into government.
And the rest of us, well, we went many different directions. Mike McLaughlin became a lawyer and a Teamster organizer. Denny O'Brien started a construction company. Mike Allen joined the FBI. Ed Nevin became a personal injury lawyer. Jim Mills, a high school counselor, and Ken Kelser, a therapist. Al Potter moved up to Canada to finish college and got a degree in languages. He then became a community college president in Quebec. Steve Kelly became a teacher and a performer who calls himself Mr. Fun. Bob Murnane became a hospital social worker.
He turned me on to heresy. When he recommended reading The Stranger by Albert Camus.
Oh, those were the days.
And then it questioned my whole spiritual foundation.
So that was good, wasn't it, Steve?
Yes, thank you, Bob.
Several of our classmates became teachers. John Osnes, Jack Keegan, Arnie Kunst. Bill O'Brien left the seminary after only 1 year and ended up selling children's books. Bill Richardson also left after a year and became a referee for the National Football League. Dick Finkus left in his 3rd year and made a career in retail sales. Denny Clennell became a stockbroker in San Francisco. Mike Jacobson became an engineer in Silicon Valley. Jack O'Shea moved up to the country and became a cowboy. Dan Dillon became a used car salesman. 2 of our classmates had military careers, Jerry Winkenbach and Bill Myrons.
Went in the Army, and I quickly realized there was quite a difference. The seminary told you if you did something wrong, you were breaking the will of God. And the Army said if you did something wrong, as long as you didn't get caught, it was fine.
Clarence Levisi stayed close to the earth, working the family farm in Calistoga. Phil Brady was an excellent athlete who became a drug and alcohol counselor. His nephew Tom Brady is the quarterback for the New England Patriots. John Heilman became a successful insurance salesman. Larry Moorman is now retired after teaching philosophy at Yuba City College for many years. Tom Sheehan is professor of religious studies at Stanford University. Myself, I've been a teacher, bartender, truck driver, restaurant manager. Now I'm doing some writing and playing around with these video projects. At the reunion mass, we remembered 16 members of our class who have passed away.
Robert Carroll, Michael P. Carter, Richard W. Costello, Thomas A. Estelita, William J. Finnegan.
After 50 years, all the old divisions between jocks and eggheads, liberals and conservatives, has pretty much gone by the wayside. We all turned 70 this year, and I think we're all just happy to see each other still on the planet. Some of us still attend church, some of us don't, but when we get together, we all still come together for Mass, which somehow is still the symbol of our unity.
Peace of the Lord be always with you.
And also with you.
Let's offer to one another a sign of Christ.
Hey,